All right, welcome to our team call. We are so excited to have a special guest tonight. Her name is Caren, and she's incredible. So I'm going to read a little bit about her bio and then let her hop right into it so we can maximize this sweet, sweet time with her. So Caren is a follower of the Lord, which anybody who follows her knows that. She's a first-time mom to the cutest little boy named Luca. Hashtag Jim-Gyptian because he's half Egyptian and half ginger, which is so adorable. She's a doctor's wife. She became a coach in July of 2015 and has absolutely loved the journey, even with all the highs and lows. She left this out, but she became Diamond recently, which I know has been such a big, big blessing because of how hard she worked for it. So I'm going to add that in there for her. Her team name is Team Race to Serve, which is inspired from Philippians 2:3. And their mission is to simply value others above themselves as they lead with integrity and humility, always racing to serve, not for rank, perks, or paycheck, which is incredible. So she's going to talk to us tonight about the vital process. And if you have any questions, go ahead and type it in the chat box. And at the end of the call, if we have time for questions, then she'll go ahead and answer them. All right. So without further ado, Caren.
Heyo. All right, so I am so pumped to be here. You're going to notice real quick that I am the kind of teacher that actually usually wants to have a conversation with you, but y'all are muted, so I'm going to have a conversation with myself, and then afterwards we can talk more. But guys, I'm just so excited to teach this process because one of the biggest struggles I find coaches facing is they don't find a flow in their business. And so they're trying to do their power hour and they're just all over the place. When do I do a free group? When do I do a challenge group? I don't even know how to recruit coaches. And it's you are trying to shoot a dart at 1,000 different targets. And where you start to get burnt out and the joy of the business really starts to just kind of run dry is when you're not finding that flow. And especially if you're somebody who's working alongside doing Beachbody coaching. So this is my full time, but if you're doing a job in addition to this, that is your full-time job, if you don't find a process and a flow, you are going to burn out really quickly. So I want to walk you through what is this vital process and how does it influence your monthly calendar? Because literally the goal from this call is that when we're done, you look at October, November, and December, and you write down your flow. What is the plan? What date will these different events be? And I promise once you do this, you're going to take the intimidation and the uncertainty of invitations out of the picture. You won't be as nervous. You won't feel just lack of confidence because you'll have something to invite people to. You'll know what your schedule looks like and you'll just feel less scattered. So I did write this on my super handy dandy whiteboard. My husband has not put it up anywhere yet, so I don't even know if you're going to read anything or see anything really well, but I could have created a PowerPoint, but I didn't. So we will just pretend that this is fantastic and it'll be great. So even though it's all laid out for you, I just want you not to race ahead just yet. Follow with me. We're going to start right from the beginning. Step 1, you're going to attract, connect, and invite, which often that's your free group and your low-cost group. That is where the attraction, connecting, and inviting is leading you. What that means is, you guys, we are always attracting people with our posts on social media. Maybe you send people birthday messages, and if you don't start, happy birthday messages are one of my favorite types of just easy conversation with people. And I always end it with a question. What did you do for your birthday today? How have things been? And it's just, you're attracting people that way. It's just simple conversation, connection, and investment. And you're finding that common interest with people. So one of the most ickiest feelings that you can get with this business is if you are not taking time to truly invest in people and you're just jumping to invitation. So you want to take time to build that relationship, to build that connection, because then when you create an event for a free group, it doesn't feel weird to invite them into that. It might even flow perfectly based on what you were talking about. And so you attract, you connect, you invest, and then you go for it and you invite. There are a lot of different options for free groups. I've had people who've done Shakeology taste testing groups, they literally call it taste testers, and they do it for 7 days. They get the 7 Shakeology samplers. You could do it for 4 or 5 days. And every single day, they share different types of information about Shakeology. Maybe it's the video by Darren O'Neill or video about Carl Deichler saying how he like refuses to have any tiny bit of, you know, crap in Shakeology. He has to have it completely clean and from whole food sources. You can just do a lot of education, because what you're doing, you guys, in any free group, regardless of if it's a Shakeology group or a clean eating group, whatever, is you're educating them, number one, and then you're building value, because you want people to really understand how amazing what we like the products that we have are, especially if you're doing a Shakeology testing group. You want them to really value it, to understand why it is an investment, because that's where the money objection often goes out the window, is if you really pour into those free groups and you treat them like they just paid a ton of money to be there, and you show up and you are confident and you are a teacher and you're a supporter and an encourager, people start to not only respect you as a coach and you having you in their corner, but they really want to go all in for the next step. We're going to get to that in just a second. And so really start to think about your free groups as a must for your flow. And so for me, free groups are generally the first week of every month, first to second week, somewhere there. They're always a week and a half to 2 weeks right before my actual challenge group. And that's a strategic move, because I want them to graduate right from that into the next step that we're going to talk about. So if you're looking at your calendar, that 5 to 7 day free group, I rarely go past 7. You don't want to burn out, but you want to run that well. With Clean Week coming out, utilize it. So most of you should be on Team Iron. Watch Michelle's video on Clean Week. If you haven't, it's excellent. So that's the whole point of a free group, is that you are showcasing who you are as a coach. You can make it free, or you can make it at a very low cost. And I always say to my clients who hop in on free groups is I want them to take a test run with me. I want them to feel out how I do coaching, to feel out our programs and our products. Some people are ready to go all in. Some people just gotta like ease their way in and just get their feet wet. And so free groups really have been incredible. Now I know people who really don't succeed with their free groups, and it's a few things. They didn't really plan for it well. They just kind of wung it. And people can tell when you wing it. Is it wung it? Whatever. And so that's number one. Or number two, they pick a topic that they're not even that passionate about, so they're not even really showing up. Or number three, they never actually have a next steps video. This is key. So the last 3 days of your free group, you are creating a video that is getting them set up for number two, right? So number two is match with program or product, which is your challenge group. That's the next step of your flow. And my way is not the only way, is in that like next steps video, I just share how much I've appreciated them and love journeying with them, and how now they get to decide what they want to do from here. I'm not here to push them or do anything, but I'm just going to inform them about the options if they found value in this group. So number one, bless and release, right? Like, you love this, it was great, but for you, like, you're all set for right now. No problem. Maybe step two is you're ready to go all in. You're just like ready to really get healthy from the inside out and go all out with the fitness part and go all out with the nutrition part and get the accountability and the support from a private app away from the noise of social media. And so if you present it with that passion, and you can break down the cost investments if you want in that video, it's up to you how you want to do it. But you want to match them with what's right for them. And so the big thing here is while I'm doing that video in the group, I am absolutely also private messaging every single person behind the scenes, because they all have different stories. They all have different things going on and different goals. And so behind the scenes, if they're interested, I do what's called a fit quiz. So I want all of you to create a fit quiz. Keep it really simple. But people really respect it when you are going to invite them to something and then they're saying like, yeah, I'm interested. And then you say, okay, great. Like, before we go any further, I just want to hear about you. I want to hear your story. I want to hear your heart. I want to hear your goals. Where have the struggles been? So your fitness quiz can be as simple as, what has your health journey looked like the last year? For me, I ask, what has your faith journey been like the last year? Because there's a faith element in all of my groups. What's harder, fitness or nutrition? And what are the biggest struggles with nutrition? And I give them ideas. Is it overeating? Is it not eating enough? Is it skipping meals? Is it sugar? But I ask specific fitness questions, including allergies, including any injuries, or just like, what do they prefer for workouts? Do they like cardio? Do they like strength, boxing, Pilates, whatever? And I don't overwhelm them. It's just 2 or 3 questions. It just depends on like the person and how many questions I feel like asking. And this way you get to really understand what their agenda is, because our job as coaches is not to push our agenda, it's to pull the agenda out of our clients to make sure that we can pick the right programs that we feel will fit them to get them the most results. So if they say, I really need like results fast, I have a wedding in a few days, 3-day refresh might make the most sense, right? Or if they say, you know what, I need results, but I just need to be like within a 3-day window, but I'd like to see changes happen, you know, just at a faster rate. And of course, we're here to teach lifestyle, not a diet, right? So of course, but there are programs that bring different types of results. So maybe you're looking at a 21-day program versus a 90-day program. And so as you're listening to them, if they're pregnant, if they have an injury, you are going to change what you pick. All Access gives us the ability to really coach our clients so much better than before. They're no longer limited by just one program. We can meet them in any season of their life. If in the middle of a group they get an injury, if in the middle of the group they find out they're pregnant, if in the middle of the group they're suddenly like, I don't know, going camping and they need to download the workout on their app, you know, so that they have it, since they don't have Wi-Fi. We can meet every need, but we won't know what that need is if we're not asking questions. So biggest issue I see is that we don't ask enough questions. So ask a lot of questions. This is what's going to make this transition a lot smoother, is you are showing up and pouring so much into the free group that they trust your integrity, that some of them will be totally ready without hesitation to join your challenge group. You're doing a fit quiz, you're meeting their needs, you're matching them with a program. Number 3, you are getting them results. So get them results, which means support in the challenge group. This might seem like a really easy step, because you're like, Caren, like, duh, like, this is what we do. Yeah, you'd be surprised, though. Like, I feel like this is one of those steps that should be applied, but the easiest things to do are sometimes the easiest things not to do. Just because they signed up and they paid that $160 and they're on the app doesn't mean your work is done. My role every time as a coach is to be blameless at the end. Are there going to be people who stop showing up in the group? Yes, they always happen. But are you blameless? Meaning, did you check in with them privately when they start to dwindle and phase out? Did you like show up multiple times? Let them know that you're there, not to shame them, but be there behind the scenes, not just in the group by itself, you know, and make sure that you're celebrating every victory, even the tiniest of victories. You guys recognize your clients, give them shout outs, do shout out Saturday where they also give each other shout outs, like fun things like that really build camaraderie and community and celebrates them, because so many people hesitate to start a journey because they failed so many times in the past. They're done failing. And so to them, they may not see the scale move after a week, so they say that as failure, but then you recognize it that they push play for 5 days, which they never have done before. They, at work, they brought donuts and they said no. Like, you can pull these things out of them and change their mindset. So getting them results isn't just physically. We're here to get them results mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Now, are you a therapist? No, you're not. Like, know your role. But what I'm saying is, if we're just here to bring people out with 6-pack abs and that's it, we're not doing our job. We're here to really, we can't change them, but we're putting them on a path that there's an opportunity for transformation. Like, truly. And so I want people to leave that group every time with an inside-out transformation. And you know how I find out? I have a questionnaire at the end. I have a questionnaire at the end of every challenge group. And it has questions like that. What did you learn spiritually from this group? What is one way that you grew on the inside? What were some non-scale or scale victories? You want to get that feedback from them, because a lot of them don't even notice it until they have to answer those questions. And then they start to think. So get them results and support them as much as you can. Pour into them, love on them. Again, that biggest mistake is, well, they already paid me, so I'm going to peace out and not be as present as I can be. So, and if that ever happens, if you feel like you bit more than you can chew, know for the next time. Maybe you don't open a group for 20 people, you only do 10, or you only do 5, or you only do 3. That's okay. It's not about quantity. It's the quality of work, because that one seed that you serve, if you nurture it like it's 1,000 and you love on it, that one seed will go to its friend's seed and tell her all about it. And she'll go to her friend's seed and tell her all about it. When you do it well, when you're faithful in the small, it will grow. You know, Patrice so humbly said that, like, I'm a diamond. Guys, I'm 2 years in, and I hit diamond, right? So it was a very long journey for me. But that's because I never was looking at the rank. I just trusted that I had to be faithful with the small. And no matter what that pace was, I was going to be faithful with the small and be consistent and show up anyway. And though I've hit it, I'm not done, right? Like it's still that constant pouring and supporting and building slowly. And so if you're a coach on here and you've been discouraged because your groups are like 1 or 2 people or 3 people, don't be. Support the crap out of them and love on them like you've got 50 in a group. Because if you were to have 50 right now, probably truth is you won't be able to manage it well. Build slow and you'll be able to build systems that go with that pace so you can take on more without burning out. And then finally, the business opportunity. This is my favorite. I don't even see the screen. Wait for it. Okay. Business opportunity is the next step, and that's your coach sneak peek. So before you freak out, if you're like, Caren, I know does coach sneak peek, what are you saying? Okay, couple things here. If you have never done a coach sneak peek, ask Patrice or Caroline if they do coach sneak peeks. Pop them into their groups. I used all of Michelle's in the beginning. Michelle's my upline. The whole first year and a half of my business, I was like, nope. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm not presenting the business. And don't make my same mistake though, because if I had just practiced earlier, I would have gotten a lot better at it earlier. I've practiced it enough now where actually presenting the business is one of my all-time favorite things to do. And it used to be my biggest weakness. I refused to do it for 6 months of my business. And so at this point, guys, do you see the flow? Like you have now been investing in this person or these people for so long. You've been breadcrumbing the entire time, setting them up for the business opportunity. Say the coaching opportunity is not for everybody. Some coaches say it's for everybody. I disagree. I don't think it's for everybody. I think that it has to be a best yes decision for some people, and for some it just isn't. But you won't know unless you find out. So this whole entire time, you started with a free group or a low-cost group just to build trust. They make sure you're legit, and you pour and you teach and you give them everything you've got. But then if they want more of your priority energy, they've got to jump into a challenge group, and you love on them there, and they see results inside out, and they're so touched and moved by their journey that now you have an opportunity to answer the most frequently asked questions. What is coaching? How do you gain more accountability through coaching? Because you basically become like a lifelong challenger when you become a coach, right? What does the investment look like? Do you have to have a beach body? No. Do you have to be a professional? What does the pace look like? Do I have to look like Caren and a business builder? No. And so the coach sneak peek is just you sharing your heart and presenting the business and hitting on the primary pieces that people usually ask about. Whenever I do a coach sneak peek, it's just 2 days. And the first day is just I share about who I am. And then I just do a post about drop all your questions below. Everything that you would want to know, tell me. I have my outline that is always steady, but I add to it based on what they say. And then the next day I hop on live and I just do a 40-minute live video all about the business. Everybody does it differently. Some have tons of videos throughout a couple days. I found that just overwhelms people. So I just do one with all the info, and it stays open in that private group for an entire month. And I just keep reusing it all month long. If I meet somebody and they want, just go right in there. And then when I do a fresh one, that's my fresh one that I use for that month. And so that's just kind of how I do it. And even if they don't sign up, now they have in the back of their brain, they know what discount coaching is. If they keep Shakeology, why not? If you want it, great. And they just have an idea of what I really do. So many people have the gift for coaching. You've got to pull out the golden people, because I have several coaches on my team that were like, I'm so glad that you told me about this, because I would have never thought to dive in, but I'm so glad that I did. You can feel when someone has that gift and could be amazing. It's a shame if you don't invite them. It's a shame if you don't just have the courage, because I shared this at the Team Iron dinner because Michelle said it. But it was perfect. She said, you're already living your worst case scenario. They're already not a coach on your team. So worst case scenario is already there. So if they say, no, thank you, it's just not for me, no problem. You got to practice how to present the business, and you're just going to keep getting better, and you're going to find your tribe, but you won't if you're not searching. And so that's the flow. It's really simple. And if you literally whip out a calendar, first or second week, you've got a free group. Week after, you've got a challenge group. And then my sneak peek is always the last 2 days of a challenge. That's it, the challenge group. So the Saturday and Sunday, every single month, it's always those last 2 days of the challenge. And I present it in the challenge group the same way in the free group. I talk about next steps. They either go into my forever community on the app, or they peace out completely from the app, which not many ever do, or there's the coaching sneak peek. I never say become a coach is an option. That's too intense. I do jump in on the coach sneak peek as an option, because then that's more, it's just not intimidating. It's just come get information. If this has tugged on your heart, like just come Facebook Live, listen, see, and people tend to be more responsive to hearing information than just being like, become a coach. So that's the flow of the vital process. That's how your vital behaviors come to life. The investing and inviting, the being proof the products work, the personal development, the recognition, those are all great, and those are the bread and butter of the business, but they come to life in the vital process. So now when you have all these groups, you're like, oh, I gotta invite. Oh, I'm really not good at inviting. Oh, I gotta do personal development. Like, and things just start to kind of flow. And okay, I'm showing up in these groups. I got to be proof the product works. Like if I'm going to create these events and whatever, like I got to be showing up and showing people that I'm doing it. So this is how the vital process and the vital behaviors work together. So I hope you guys had some aha moments. That's pretty much the content of the vital process. It's so simple. It's crazy, but I hope it just simplifies what you've been doing. If you've been feeling scattered, go back to the basics and just keep it simple. And if there's a month you're like, Caren, I just can't do a free group this month. All right, do just a challenge. Like this doesn't have to be the only way. This can flex any way you want it to look. But this has been my flow the last 4 months, and it has been producing the biggest harvest I've seen so far in my business. And that's why I've been teaching it, because once you find that flow, it feels really good to have it. So I hope this was helpful. We can take some questions at this point. Oh, y'all are all muted. I can't help you with that.
Do you want us to unmute ourselves and ask questions?
Yeah, go for it. If there are any, yeah.
Anybody have questions? I have a question, so I'll ask it. When someone purchases the All Access Pass and they go through your challenge group, do you place them in a community group or do you allow them to be in your future challenge groups? Like how do you, because everyone does it different. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I take my short-term boot camps for brand new clients. And that is very intentional because they fill up really quickly, and I don't like to take on too many because I want to make sure I can serve them well behind the scenes. So I have what I call the Lifer community on the app, and they are everybody. The requirement is all access. Even if they can't do Shakeology, that's not a problem. As long as you have all access, you get to be a part of this Lifer community, and that's where all my graduates go. Every time. So there's a fresh new group of women every single month that roll in there. We have monthly challenges in there. I do things in that group that have some structure so they don't just give up. So there's a lot of life in that group. And then the short-term boot camps, the 21 to 25-day boot camps, they are generally brand new people or brand new coaches who sign up as apprentice coaches to hop in as rockstar challengers and just learn the way of running groups. And so I do require Shakeology for the short-term boot camps. It has to be the entire package. That's a non-negotiable for me. If they can't do it, they get to go into my fit community on Facebook. So I have 3 things going on. But
that's good to know.
Yeah, that one is just for anybody who has me as a coach for anything. It could be a free trial. It could be a cookbook. It could be whatever. So to get more of my time and my investment, you want to be on the app. And these are the requirements for the app. To get even more, the short-term bootcamp, you get more of my teaching because that one is very, very structured and has a lot more. You got to go all in. And so those are sort of the stages I found. And the reason why I don't keep Shakeology in the Lifer community, I've got people in there with allergies. I've got people in there genuinely in seasons where they just can't. And so I know when they genuinely can't and when they're just, and so I just did not feel with the integrity that it was right to create a barrier in the Lifer community if they had all access. But the majority of them do end up keeping Shakeology in there too. So that's just kind of how I found it to work for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because I think that the struggle I have is kind of what you were saying is there's only a certain amount of people I can take on a month. And so I'm just feeling like it's hard because I want to give a lot, but if I know they're not continuing to invest, it's hard. That makes it difficult. So that's why I was curious. So thank you.
The app groups, they can be on there literally forever. So the forever group really became, because ever since All Access came out, it is forever workouts. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I should just have an open one all the time, which maxes at 200. So there's going to have to come a point where it's going to a second.
Like, I'm going to need to move all you over to this new group.
I know Beachbody needs to keep it open for more people. I don't know why it's 200. But
Yeah.
who knows? But that's, again, my way. That's not the only way. That may not be the best way for you. This has been
I like
the best.
that idea. Cool.
Any other questions about any part of the process or just anything in general?
I got one.
Don't be shy. Go ahead.
So you were mentioning the questionnaire quiz after the challenge group. How do you do that? Do you send it to them directly, or is it on the app?
That's a great question. So at this point, they're not signed up for anything yet. So the way that I do the questions is it's usually Facebook Messenger. That is their primary mode of communication for just questions. So if they say, Caren, I'm interested, I say, great, like, let me just ask you a few questions and grab your email address to send you all the details. And then in the questions, then I ask, you know, what does your fitness journey look like the last year? What's harder, fitness or nutrition? Types of workouts they like, any allergies, injuries. And once they send me the answers, I then send an email with all the details about the All Access Challenge Pack, the workouts, the nutrition part, the accountability part, the personal development part, the coaching part, the investment part. I share it all. But in it, I'm also like pretty much targeting all of their answers. So I'm personalizing it. So, oh, you mentioned that there's this. Well, this is where this could really be helpful, blah, blah, blah. The reason why you want to pull out their agenda is because you have solutions. You're going to have solutions for a lot of what they're sharing. And so without their struggles and them identifying where they're struggling, you're not able to really show them how this is going to be valuable for them. So Messenger first, get the answers in their email, and then I do everything on email just because it just looks neater to do the layout of here's everything. On Messenger, it would just be like scrolling for days and not the best. So.
Well, that is helpful because I need to start a business email because I'm sending stuff and I lose track of my personal email. Everything that comes through on there.
Yes, that's like one of the first things I did. I was like, do I really want to do this? But it has made it a lot easier for sure.
Well, thank you. That was helpful.
Any other questions, guys?
I have a question. Oh no. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. So do you, like, when you are talking to people about like them joining your free group and stuff, and they're like, yeah, I want to join your free group, do you tell them about like the All Access Challenge Pack and everything before, or do you kind of wait until they get a feel for you and then present them with that?
So if somebody's interested in a free group, so I create events for everything on Facebook. I create an event for free groups or challenge groups, and events to me simplify invitation times 1,000 because you can create an event, have all the description there, like everything. I might share my screen. Am I able to do that? Yeah, I am. And just show you guys really quickly because this will answer your question in just a second. And I know that we've got a time limit, but don't worry. I speak really fast to make sure that you can stay with me. All right, here we go. I know, I see it. It's like red letters. Okay, so if you go to events and you click create an event, this is where I do everything. So 7-day back to basics, that's going to be using Clean Week. And I have the entire description of the group, even the cost actually, everything in here. Because this is going to just, what I end up doing is I click share and I hit invite friends, and I can invite literally every woman on my heart that I want in this group. I don't invite everybody. I don't do a mass invite. It's a very purposeful invite. So if you look at the how many, this was just done today, there's 101 people. So you can bet I'm actually personally messaging 101 people. I'm not just inviting and that's it. I am messaging them behind the scenes. I have a script that I'm going to individualize for each person and telling them about this free group. I'm not mentioning the All Access Challenge Pack yet. I'm not doing any of that. Right now, I'm just talking about the 7-day free group. Keep your invitation in the beginning so simple. Keep it so simple. Hey, I'm going to be running a 7-day back to basics group. Simple nutrition, simple workouts, and accountability. Is that something you'd be interested in? Like, not like, okay, so you get this many workouts. You get, like, if you go too much into it, and then there's an All Access Challenge Pack, like, you're going to lose them really fast. And so keep it simple. And then I mention All Access, like, at the end of the free group, when they're already starting to wonder what's going to happen when the group is over, and they're kind of like, I don't want to lose the accountability. So I don't check for a little bit.
Okay, cool. That helps.
For sure. Now, if in that message they're telling me all about like how they could really if 160, like if the whole thing makes sense. I don't do that with everybody, but sometimes if I feel like, hey, would this make more sense? Like you tell me, I'm happy to take either, like work with you in either place you're comfortable. But if this makes more sense and you want to go all in, let me know. I'm happy to do some one-on-one coaching until the next challenge group. So, but generally speaking, everybody jumps in the free group first. Every now and then I meet one person who's just like so ready, which is very rare. But, you know, once every few months, there's that one person that's like, let's go. So you can sort of just use your discernment there.
Okay, cool.
I have another question.
Go for it.
So I may already know this, but I'm running my first free group. I don't have any coaches yet. But the challenge group is the paid one, and that's for after you have coaches,
That's
right?
for what?
That's for the one that people pay for. Like, that's for your coaches to join in on, correct? The challenge group and not the free group. So the free group is just anybody who wants to do the free trial. Mm-hmm. But the challenge group is for your coaches.
What do you mean for my coaches, though? It's really for your clients.
Okay, it's for anybody.
So the free group, they can't be working with another coach.
Oh,
so they can't be working with another coach, and my coaches do their own thing usually, unless we're co-leading. And then a challenge group is generally a paid group. You can decide how you want to do this. My challenge groups are exclusively all access passes right now, unless they don't have wireless, then obviously they can hop in on just Shakeology or whatever. But when I started my business, I'm not going to lie to you, I ran challenge groups and just really focused on meeting people where they were comfortable. But that was before all access. I really think that this is where you should present first and then step down. So if they're not able to do that, be like, hey, here are some other options. But that's really for anybody.
I was confusing myself. I understand now. I was confusing myself. But that is for anybody, but they have to pay for it. So they have to buy something.
There's an investment. Because they have to have tools. What are you going to do without the tools? Like, you can't really be the best coach you can be if they're not going to get the tools to apply. So that's how I explain it is, cool. Without anything, there's not a whole lot I can do. So,
no, that's definitely helpful. I was just
you're good.
Confusing myself as usual.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think my biggest struggle or fear with starting to really invest in coaches is the sneak peek business opportunity, the live video on Facebook. I'm just fearful I'm not going to give people the correct information or enough information. Is that something we should just go to our upline for and help, they could help us set a video up, or should we just plug our new coaches in to their business opportunity events until we feel comfortable presenting them with
I would do both. I would practice. I would literally videotape myself or present the business to my husband. And I do have a format. Caroline, I don't know if you and Patrice have something like this, but I do have a general checklist of what the things I hit on when I present the business. Now I know it all up here, but I can send that to you guys if you want it.
Yeah.
It just keeps me on track. But I would pop them into Michelle's and I would practice doing them myself. And I just did it.
I have a script too that has points that way when you're doing the video, there's points that to hit on too. So I can send that to you guys.
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
Perfect.
Yeah. And just as an FYI too, team, me and Patrice are going to be doing a coach sneak peek at the end of this month. So that you can jump in with your upline. But if you jump in, you'll be expected to have to go live and share your story, just because it'll be good practice for everyone to kind of learn it.
I think you have 30 seconds.
Any other questions?
Well, I just want to say thank you. Seriously, it was such an honor to be here. I love you guys. I don't even know all of you, but I love you all. And I will be praying over your businesses. Just stay faithful in the small and be consistent in all of it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think we did a record for the most people on our team call.
We should have taken a picture.
Oh, yes. Take a picture real quick.
Everybody smile.
It's going to shut us down.
Jennifer,
I'll send it to you.
yourself.
Okay.
All right, bye.